The miracle of technology. AMOOKOS. I haven't got little things that say wave this time, so take it as waving. It's a bit temperamental, this system. Anyway, I hope you can hear me. Perhaps someone could say if the sound's off, let me know. Okay, I won't wait, but I'll get into this. It's just a short one tonight for the full moon, which hi Anna, it's and Jez and DT, and I can't see who the other one is, but getting there. Sylvia, and lots of others. Yeah, the moon will be up soon, so I won't keep you too much from that. We'll be talking about the full moon. It's a full moon, or it's the eve of the full moon. It's going to be big and cheesy tonight, so it's a very special night, very potent night for all sorts of magical traditions, and especially in ours. And as I'm talking about the kalas, and last time I introduced the notion of the kalas, and we did the new moon then. It just so happens by the miracle that it's the full moon, and there's a kala for the full moon, which I'm going to try and share a little bit of my experience and research on. I've kind of crowdfunded this a little bit as well, and got some other people to contribute some bits and pieces. So AMOOKOS. So last time we talked about, I should say the picture before I lose it off the screen is the full moon Kala, or Nitya, the kind of personification of this particular day of the cycle of the Kalas, and she's called Chitra Malini, or sometimes Chitra Nitya. Which is a kind of no, and her name means garlanded with light. Garlanded with light, which is rather appropriate, I guess, for the full moon. Sometimes people say it variegated is another meaning, but having looked at it, I kind of thought garlanded with light sort of fits really. And this is a rather nice picture that I found of her. I think they call these pictures in India, they call them God photographs. They kind of have a kind of different status to what we might think of as drawings and stuff. They have a special, the whole science goes into the construction of them, and you can see a form of the goddess, very benign, or seemingly on the outside. She's got 4 arms. She's holding the traditional in the upper, but the goad, as in an elephant goad, or animal goad, which you use to kind of drive it on, and a noose as well. So the kind of same as last time, the noose and the elephant goad. And she's making the sign. I should say, as was pointed out to me last time, when I kind of explained this notion of the mudra, that the mudra that I actually demonstrated for the goddess last time was actually the mudra, the upright hand. The upright hand is the mudra that repels fear, and so that, you know, that's she's doing that. She's got the mudra. The upright hand is dispelling fear, and the downward pointing hand, or the outward pointing hand, is the one that I meant to. Deliberate mistake really to say, which is to bestow a gift or a boon. So she does both. She dispels fear and she gives gifts. She supposedly, according to a description, gives immense good luck from this goddess, and knowledge of the self. She has got a mudra. I don't know if I'm going to try and massacre it again this time, but part of it is Om Chitra Shri Padukam Pujyami Tapiyami Om Nama. Om Chitra Shri Padukam Pujyami Tapiyami Namaha. There's also a technical other bit, but there are various versions of the mantra, so it's a rather nice mantra. And Padukam means kind of footstool, I think, or flower, and she's also got the footstool, as you can see in the picture. Okay, so if I refresh your memory, it's one of these. Next photo. These are all things we're going to talk about eventually. That's her. I suppose you'd call it her symbolic diagram, or yantra, which is another quite important aspect of Tantrism. Is definitive or distinctive element of Tantrism is this use of these diagrams, which are laid flat on the ground. In fact, they're not usually hung on walls as you often see them. They're kind of symbolic gateways or temples, really. They represent the temple of that particular goddess, and this is her yantra, rather nicely drawn with a seed in the centre, and you've got two downward pointing triangles, which is downward pointing triangles tend to be feminine, and one upward pointing triangle. So that probably and the four gateways and all the rest. Just from the mantra, just from the yantra or mystical diagram alone, you can learn quite a lot about a particular goddess, or so you're getting a view of all the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. Next photo. All right. So we did Kameshvari last time, which is Lady of Desire, and which was to do with the photo. We were kind of working with a sequence in which so it's got to be the last one, hasn't it? All right, it's not going to come out. It's not going to. Okay, it didn't come up. Okay, so there's a sequence. I'll go back to that, the one I had. There's a sequence of 15 lunar days in the month, and we're on number 15, which is right at the bottom, Chitra Malini. And whereas we started the sequence at the bottom of the body, and the feet, the soles of the feet, in fact, the lunar kala, if you like, this kind of whatever you call it, it's almost like the moon moving within the body, or it could be erogenous zones moving within the body. It's some sort of energetic process taking place in the body. It moves through various stages within the body over the course of the half fortnight of the moon, of the 30-day lunar sequence. As you can see, it would have gone through the foot and ankle, knee, yoni, the pubic area, the hip, the side of the body, the breast, the armpit, the shoulder, the neck, the chin, the lips, the cheek. So it's working its way upwards until it gets to the forehead, and that's kind of where we are tonight, with the moon really in the forehead, I suppose. So now this is another interesting thing, I suppose. So that's the cycle within the month itself. So you have cycles within cycles. Within the entire cycle of the ritual year, what I sometimes call the Kaula ritual year, this particular month that we're in now, we're halfway through in fact, is called Asvin. And it comes in relationship to the autumn equinox, as we know, right? So there's a kind of interplay between the solar and lunar cycles in this month. And the first 9 days of the month, really, or first 9 days, or sometimes the 9 days leading up to the full moon, are called the 9 nights, the Navaratri, and are set aside for the worship of a particular form of the Shakti in the form of Durga. Or Kali, whose picture they seem to be interchangeable in lots of ways, and I kind of relate to her, and a lot of people relate to her because she has a lot in common with also another goddess. Well, it's almost like it's a type of goddess, Egyptian Hathor, whose cult is also celebrated not too well last month really, and has got a lot to do this month. And I suppose this festival, this full moon coming after the equinox, is a kind of particular point, is a particular twilight in the year, and that's quite important. So the 9 days of Navaratri are more or less, coming to an end on the full moon. And if you think about Durga as well, the mythology of the goddess Durga, as someone said the headphones is playing up, I'm sorry about that. But anyway, there will be a recorded version. I will save this so you'll have a chance to listen to it later. Durga, of course, in her kind of mythology, one of the things she does is, which you can find in the Ramayana, in fact, an aspect of the story of the goddess Durga and her encounters with the demon Ravana, who takes the form of the buffalo demon, right? Well, again, buffalo, you see buffalo and a sort of bovine type thing that kind of gets us into the category of Hathor as well, and she kind of is often shown riding the buffalo demon. So that's a kind of interesting aspect of that. Another thing that I kind of thought was interesting to relate to this time of year in terms of cycles, a particular discipline that's important to us as tantrics and practitioners. It's almost like our thing, really. It's got a kind of intimate. It's something called Ayurveda, which is the science of longevity, if you like. In a nutshell, essentially, that's what you would call medicine, but it probably encompasses a little bit more than just medicine. And in terms of this time of year, we're just entering. They have 6 seasons in the cold season, really, when things like what they call kapha, we might translate as phlegm, really, and vata, which is you could translate as wind. These things are kind of predominating in the seasons to come. So it's a cold season, and particular illnesses and things that you need to think about. So there's kind of these cycles within cycles occurring, really. Okay, so I'll go back through some of the pictures now and see if I can think of something to... okay, so the next photo, all right, never mind that. That's all right, that's my book, Isis in India, which does have some relevance to this, but as it deals with sort of the Indian sides of the things, but of the mythos. That's the goddess again. I want to point out as well that if you look at her mystical diagram as they've drawn it in this version, it's also very, very interesting. Apart from the arrangement of the triangles, which is part of the mysteries of these yantras, you've got kind of the way they've done it, normally you get 4 gateways in a yantra, but this one have got 2 squares that are kind of put at odds at 90 degrees to each other, so you make this kind of 8-pointed glyph, which has a very, very interesting resonance in all sorts of other magical traditions as well. And I should say it's not all theoretic. I do kind of, over the last period, I've been working with a collaborator on working through the Kalas and other versions of it, and I've learned quite a lot, and this was one of the things that came out in that. Okay, so I've already said that the Kala is in the forehead, right? It's in the area of the forehead. It's risen through the body, and it's got itself to the region of the forehead, which is very, very mysterious from a Western point of view. Maybe, I don't know, but certainly it's something in the West that we've kind of learned from Indian physiology and Indian ways of looking at this sort of stuff. Is this notion of the third eye, which, of course, we don't have a third eye, or at least we didn't think we did. it's whereas the other chakras in the familiar chakra system, the Kala system is sort of slightly independent from the chakra system. It's sort of it sort of loops around, but every now and again it comes back into connection with the familiar system of the chakras. And basically, I work. The most common version of the chakras is the kind of sevenfold, or the seven plus eight system of the ones in the central line of the body. They seem to be the major chakras, really. I know there are other systems, and in AMOOKOS, in one of our sacred texts, I think it refers to 11 chakras. But basically, all these different chakra systems, you seem to be able to boil them down to this basic core chakras in the central line, as shown in this rather beautiful picture from the British Museum. And you can see this magical body as with all these sort of complex things shown in it, but in the central line you can see the very famous set of chakra drawings which we've kind of taken to our heart in. So starting with the base, the Muladhara, right at the bottom of the spine, to the sexual center, to the stomach, which is the kind of center of the whole thing, to the Anahata, the region near the heart, which is also very important within Tantrism, to the throat, and then to the third eye. Now the thing about, I should also say that a well-known member of AMOOKOS, and a good friend, and as you may have seen, has just published or republished, I'm not sure which, a whole set of small chapbooks on. They're not actually that small. They're quite meaty, quite a lot of material in these things. Kind of an entire survey and history of the chakras, probably as much information as you're ever going to need about the chakras, and they're available in good bookshops or other places. You certainly get them in London from Treadwell's and the well-known bookshops at Atlantis and Watkins, and but I guess from the author himself. But anyway, I asked him, because I said I was going to be talking about the Ajna Chakra, because, as I say, the forehead is the place of the Ajna Chakra, which means the kind of to perceive, really, the kind of place of intuition in lots of ways. But it's mysterious to us, because whereas we might think, oh, the heart and the stomach and the genitals and the anus and the throat, these are all areas that we're kind of familiar with, the idea of emotions and things happening there. The forehead is not so common, right? It's for people to kind of think of it. But if you look, because if you look at religious iconography from all over the world, which is maybe the reason why I put that image of Isis in India, there's always an emphasis on this part of the head. There's obviously something religious and special about that. And the chakra that is located in that area, the Ajna Chakra, which kind of seems to come into existence in religious experience, really. It has, whereas the other flowers have lots of petals, this one only has 2, and that seems to fit with something interesting that myself and partner we discovered in the process of working through this, or it kind of occurred to various people. Anyway, Phil very kindly sent me a little extract. Now, I think this is about the Ajna Chakra, which resides in the wheel of the command, right? Well, command being the meaning of the word Ajna. You burn with radiant rays of energy. Inflamed, you possess gallants of flames and the nature of sound. You are without fault. Seated within the movement of Hamsa, which is the vital breath, you possess manifest energies, whilst residing in the unmanifest matter. You are satisfied with the bliss of the command, and you have made the wheel of command your seat, as you fill everything all around with a resounding sound and resonance. You fill the body from the soles of the feet, which is where we started this sequence, up to the end of the head with a powerful sound of mantras. So that's a rather nice connection, I think, from the collection from Phil Harden called Wheels Within Wheels, and this is from the history of the chakras, the particular volume. He also sent me something from Alistair Crowley. I mean, I suppose that there's an idea that Westerners took a while to kind of get this system to work out what it was. It was a bit mysterious, and Crowley tended to kind of did have access to some quite interesting stuff, and he summarised the entire system as a special set of nerves that feed the Muladhara lotus if it has 3 roots. So, yeah, no, I don't know where this quote comes from, but it seems to kind of it says the source of these roots is in the 3 centres, but they are not lotuses of the same order as the 7. And he's talking about the anal lotus. I don't know if this is a particular thing for Crowley, of 8 petals, which is deep crimson, glowing in rich poppy colour when it's sighted. He links it with the prostate gland. This is kind of interesting. Anyway, so you can find more of that in Phil's book. Now, to finish, I've covered quite a lot of ground. I don't know what, I'll go through the pictures just to make sure I haven't. That is obviously the well-known Western, photoshopped version of the chakras. In a way, it sort of lacks the charm of the traditional imagery in a way. But for the Westerner, it kind of makes more sense. And there's the well-known sequence of 7. Sometimes they don't call the 7th one a chakra, they call it something else. It's like the combination of everything else. When all the other chakras are alive, something else comes into existence, which is also the same with the kalas in a way, as I'm just going to explain. And you've got the kind of 4 elements and the spirit, and this one would be the Ajna, the 2-petaled lotus in the forehead, which is connected with the full moon and the situation we are tonight. So, what happens? So you have 15 kalas, 15 lunar parts, and then you have this kind of other part which comes into existence when all 15 are kind of being traversed or activated. And this is the 16th kala, which has various names, usually called Amrita kala. We talked a little bit about it last time. It's a kind of expression of what exists when the supreme thing, when everything is activated. So it's mysterious, this 16th kala. So it's the sort of thing that you need mystical vision to make sense of, really. I should say that you might be wondering what sort of practices you could be doing to connect yourself with this mystery. Well, obviously, if you're working alone, you can work with the diagrams, you can meditate, you can do internal meditations of trying to sense these energies. Another very good one, I think, which might make me a bit of a heretic, is drawing down the moon. Drawing down the moon is the thing to do tonight, of course, right? Because the full moon is there and waiting to be drawn down, right? Into you can draw it down into yourself, or if you're working with a person, you can draw it down into your Shakti or your Shakta, your magical partner, or wherever it is. That would be a kind of an appropriate thing to do. In terms of Tantrism, which we can't get completely away from the physical, sexual nature of the practice. I think because we're talking about the head, I mean, just on the basis of touching if you're working with a person, of touching your head or touching head with the person, touching the two places together, which sounds a bit obvious, but that has a very kind of tangible impact, especially when you're dealing with things like the heart chakra. But the other thing that kind of occurs to me, or arose in the practice, is obviously the mystery of the caress, of kissing, and in the tantric way, right? In a kind of very full. I mean, maybe I, like everybody else, have to be initiated into this, but the kiss is a much underestimated element of sexuality and of sensuality. And the erotic texts do actually have whole chapters devoted to this. I mean, I suppose, from kind of, maybe from a Western point of view, it's something that we don't spend as much time on. So maybe the practice is encouraging people to work with this material a little bit more, or to not have a lust of result, but to investigate the moon in the head, because there's quite an elaborate set of physiology and of ideas, really, where the 15 kalas that I talk about, they kind of exist in the lower part of the body, but they also exist within the head. And there are all sorts of kind of physical and psychosomatic techniques that people use, and we can, I don't know, I'm not going to say that these things always work as they say in the book. I think we're in a stage where you have to do this yourself. You have to experiment with this stuff and relearn it, and it's not going to be exactly as it was said in the book. You have to make everything anew, as it says in the old text. You have to find out and just do the experiments, and not be use the dogma to help you as a guide to your experience, but in the end it's your experience that really matters with this stuff. So we're in the 15th kala in the full moon, but we're also wondering about how we make this transition to another kala, to the second half of the system, to the 16th kala, and the reverse of it. And that's if you like, it's almost like two sides of the brain is maybe one thing that lends itself. There are two entities. You've got two petals in the Ajna Chakra. This is a clue to the fact that maybe 2 days or two kalas come together, or invoked in this system. And this is something maybe you can only find from experience, that working with this particular chakra opens a door, or kala opens a door to the second half of the system, which in a way is more difficult in the way it manifests. I've shown you that picture already. That's another image from way back of body magic, using body painting techniques to kind of invoke the chakras and kundalini, which was quite interesting. Set of experiments that people did. There's the Ajna Chakra. So I think what I'm going to do, the Isis thing, because it emphasizes in Egyptian the headdress and the serpent in the head, so I didn't put it in there just for no reason, is to finish then. I'm going to read something that someone sent, Miriam Davey, who's an initiate of AMOOKOS, after some work, and inspired by work with the kalas and the chakras, channeled really, or created or made this interesting poem that sort of summarizes the entire system, and also gives an aspect of how the 15th is a doorway, or invokes the second part of the system, the dark side of the kalas. So the poem, as far as I know, is called Dark Night of the Soul, but if I get it wrong, you'll have to forgive me. And also a shoulder to cry on. Shakti, that's how you name me, and yes, why not? I am beautiful and wise like Shakti. I am kind, funny, sexy and happy. I love and I am loved. In the mornings when I wake up by your side, two suns rising in my eyes, shining light so bright I can see your body sparkle with golden dust. I could see your heart melting into the stones when we kissed the golden dawn. For 15 days and nights we are shining bright, happy, dancing, kissing, telling love stories to each other, the stories of Kamasvari and her ankle bracelet, of Duty, the impossible girl messenger, and Chitra Malini, the bright one, the full one, the one who initiates her twin sister Kali. And tonight is the 15th night of sweet love, long kisses and passion and desires. And I am Shakti, the lady of desire, messenger of love, bright garland, the kiss of life. And I am Shakti, my eyes shine like two bright suns, but if you look closely, you will see two black suns rising inside them. For I am Kali, I am the dark one. You can only see me when the moon is full. I am Kali, my eyes are two black suns which will darken your days and blacken your sight. And I am Kali, I'll spread my darkness slowly, slowly, so you will not even notice when it touches your heart on the 7th day of the dark moon. When a black tear will drop on your shoulder, and you will know only confusion and darkness. Your heart will be broken. Only then you will know that the terrible, the formidable has been awakened. For I am Ugra, I am darkness. From now till the end of the cycle you will know only darkness. The night sky will grow darker and darker, and you will see the artificial stars. I am Ugra, I am night crawler. I will dim the lights in your heart one by one till you won't be able to see only darkness, only me. And at the end of your cycle you will not be able to tell, was it Mita or was it death? So the moon is up, time to go out and greet the moon goddess.